as Eda said, I'm Jeea, and I'll be rounding up our event and talking about sort of human rights. So when Eda and I were discussing this, we thought that a great way to kind of wrap up the event would be by discussing the kind of slightly different interpretation of the word environment, which, as she's also said, in events like this is not often kind of mentioned or touched upon. And obviously that is human rights within our environment. And I think hopefully in this way I'll also be able to talk about my faith, but also other faiths and their interpretations on preserving human rights. So as I'm sure you'll agree, a sustainable environment cannot exist without the establishment of human rights and the respect of all individuals too. I guess sustainability is not just about sort of planting trees, but it's also about preserving basic human rights for everyone. So I hope to bring this sort of topic to the fore by talking about some of the work I do with another organisation I work for. So next slide, please. Awesome. So I help lead a youth activist organisation called Burst the Bubble UK. So we're a group of young people aged 15 to 18. And as our slogan says, we are collaborating, communicating and campaigning against injustice. So we have around 40 youth across 17 different schools in the UK. And with our kind of just recent intake, this is only increasing. We've even got some ambassadors and young people all across the UK, including Northern Ireland. So currently the kind of main bit of human rights work we do is campaigning against the treatment of the Uyghurs by the Chinese government, the crisis that's happening in Xinjiang, as I'm sure you guys have heard of. We've also done some other work on kind of anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, sexual harassment in schools, and we've done this predominantly through podcasts and infographics. But since today I want to focus on human rights, I thought I'd focus on one of our main and most recent campaigns, which is the #FreeECPA campaign. So next slide, please. So we kind of, our main campaign thus far on Uyghur rights has been called Free ECPA. So it's a campaign based around the Uyghur Ekpa Asat, who was an entrepreneur, and after coming back to Xinjiang after an entrepreneurial event in the US, he was actually sent to a concentration camp. His families and his loved ones have not been able to contact him since then. So during this campaign, we worked with his sister, Rayhan Asat, who is amazing. She is the kind of first Uyghur to go to Harvard Law, and she's fighting so hard for her brother to be kind of freed from this kind of torture that he's undergoing. So, and that's where sort of Free ECPA came about. And we wanted to fight for his freedom, but also more importantly, I guess, or not more importantly, but more achievable rather, we wanted to put a face on genocide and spread awareness of the issue. We kind of wanted to engage people and sort of engage their emotions, because I think it's very easy for us to say, oh, there's a genocide going on in Xinjiang, but what does that mean? Who are these innocent people who are being tortured just because of the culture that they follow and their religion that they follow? So our new campaign, so that was a brilliant campaign, and as you can see, what it revolved around was we had people take pictures of themselves holding up a picture of ECPA. So as you can see, 2 examples there that we had posted on our Instagram, and we got around sort of 360 people from about 20 different countries. It was amazing to see so many people come together and fight for ECPA, who's undergoing this torture. We now kind of, from there, we wanted to do another campaign based around a girl living in the UK who's actually a member of Burst Bubble UK. Her name is Dilnaz Kerim, and she is 18, so my age, and her family are being, the Chinese government have told her that her family don't exist on their kind of system, which is crazy because she went to visit them in 2011. She's got pictures. She can still kind of hear their voices in her mind. And now, you know, the Chinese government haven't just told her, oh, they're dead or they're in a concentration camp, but they've said that they do not exist on the system. It's mad, particularly when we kind of think that, the Chinese government is so good at tracking people. And so that's sort of our newer campaign. I won't say too much about it, and I haven't put any photos because that's oncoming. So this is just sort of like a disclaimer to get involved if you see that. And we hope to be on a few news outlets with that. And obviously, if you want to support our work, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We even have a TikTok, or you can go to our website and donate, or just reach out to me and, we can get involved. But that aside, sort of bringing it more into religion, I think that for a lot of us at Burst the Bubble, our faith has really driven us. So kind of we actually started out as an interfaith organisation at NCS, which is the National Citizen Service, as we realised that actually there is more that unites us than divides us, and we should treat each other equally as all individuals are. And I guess the religious background that so many of our members have grown up in has meant that the values of sort of peace and equality have been instilled in us from a young age. And I guess it's that discrepancy between the inequality that we saw in our real world and our values of equality that sort of made us have this drive to do better, and made us have this drive to form Burst the Bubble to improve kind of the crises that are going on in our society. So just to give a bit of an example, I'm a Sikh, and from my Sikh upbringing, I was instilled with this idea of kind of saints, soldiers, which is a concept said to have come from the sixth Guru, Guru Har Gobind. And my sort of interpretation of that is this idea of protecting people who can't protect themselves, fighting for the rights and freedoms for those who don't have the voice to fight with, but also fighting for yourself and sticking up for yourself, which comes from this long history, I guess, of gurus fighting for their people and fighting together. And this sort of gave me the drive personally to get into activism, to fight for the rights of myself and others, because as a Sikh, I was brought up to do just that. And I saw this awful crises going on in the world, and I had to get involved and help in any way that I could. And I know, talking to my Jewish friends who are at Burst the Bubble, I know that this topic for them, focusing on the Uyghurs, was particularly pertinent and kind of relevant for them, as it was their own ancestors only a few generations ago who were being tortured and dehumanized for their own religious identity. So they too were brought up with this sort of drive to stick up for themselves and others. So to kind of wrap that up, I think that each of our religions, our faiths, our philosophies allow us a motivation and determination for peace and equality. And we've seen that with the lovely kind of talks that we've had, that of each and every sort of religion that talks about protecting our environment and all the different projects that we've done. And I think they teach us, our religions teach us to protect one another and our rights, and all the animals and the flora and the fauna. So I'm sure you'll all agree with me when I say that, it's lovely to see so many different faiths sort of coming together, so many different organisations coming together and using kind of the religious drive we've been given to achieve better and achieve a more sustainable and peaceful world. So I'd like to thank you very much for today.